Baby, you're a stitch man. Baby, you're a stitch man. Baby, you're a stitch man. Duh. Woo-hoo-hoo.
Oh, hello, Flosstube. Here I am, back again after only 2 weeks, just like I said I was going to be. Can you believe it? Almost didn't happen. I kept looking for reasons and excuses not to do it. I'm tired. I don't have anything written down. It's a snow day and the kids are home from school. I have all these reasons why I don't want to do it today. It's not a good day to do it. Maybe I'll do it next week. And Stitch Lady Melissa snapped me out of it. She said, no. If you want to do the things that you say you want to do, you need to have a plan and you need to have a routine and you need to stick to it. Stop making excuses. And she's right. I do need to stop making excuses. So here I am doing what I said I wanted to do, and I do want to do, and I'm going to do. Here I am. I'm doing it. Do. Do. So I've got a vague idea of things that I want to talk about today, but I don't have any sort of plan and I don't have anything written down. So we're just going to dive in and we're going to see how this goes. Stitchman on the fly. By the way, did you notice this? I dropped the Unabomber look in favor of a more suave, debonair looking James Bond type look. That's what you think of when you look at me, right? James Bond. And hey, if I'm James Bond, you know what that means. You know what that means.
My name is Pussy Galore.
I must be dreaming.
I'm 12 years old. I hope you've all had a good couple of weeks. I've had a real good couple of weeks. I got a lot of stuff done, way more than I even thought I was going to. I hope you've all been christening it up for the last couple of weeks. I've been really delighted seeing people talk about christening it up in their videos and people using hashtag Chris it up on Instagram, and people have really picked up on it. It's really cool. I like it a lot. I've been trying to be better at christening it up for the last couple of weeks. I'm doing my best. I don't know if you're going to believe this or not, but there are plenty of times when I can be pretty bitchy and grouchy about usually about nonsensical things, not really important things. I get myself all worked up about weather and snowstorms and how cold it is and all this kind of stuff. I've had a couple of moments because we've been getting just dumped on with snow and freezing cold temperatures here. I'm talking about minus 35. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's minus something. It's really, really cold here, and we're just getting snowstorm after snowstorm. And I bitch about that a lot. And I'm going on one of my rants. Blah, blah, I don't like gym. Why does it gotta be so cold? Why do I gotta scrape snow off the car? Why do and all the stuff that I whine about? And Melissa tries to snap me out of it. That doesn't sound like christening it up. Aren't there any good things about winter? And I do try to snap out of it. And it is really pretty. And you look at the snow on the trees and there's snow everywhere. It's really pretty. It's I complain even more about heat than I do about cold. So what am I complaining about? In the summertime, I'm going to wish it was cold, and now it's cold. So, this winter Olympics are happening, and kids like to play outside in the snow and build snowmen, and we can go skating and sliding. And there's a lot of good things about winter. Okay, so it's cold. Yeah, I live in Canada. It's cold. I did it again today because we had another snowstorm today. And today was supposed to be a day that I had the house all to myself, and school's canceled and people are home, and I'm ranting and raving. Why do kids even go to school anymore? All the time that they've missed with COVID and lockdowns and strikes and whatever. Why do we should just send kids out into the world at age 6, let them figure it out on their own? Why do we even have school? Melissa, again, Zachary, you dude, chill out and Chris it up. And she was texting me all the, hashtag Chris it up. She's at work. Come on, dude, snap out of it. Chris it up. And I started sending her gifs of Jack Nicholson in The Shining. I don't want to Chris it up today. I want to jack it up today. just bitch, whine. But I'm trying to snap out of it. I'm trying to enjoy what's going on right now. The snow is pretty. It's not, I have to shovel my steps in my walkway. Okay, whatever. There's a guy that plows our driveway for us, and like the snow's light. It's fun to play in. It's pretty to look at. I don't want kids out there in school buses on icy, slippery roads. So like, what am I, Chris it up. No, jacking it up. Chris it up. It's a happy day, right? It's happy. Speaking of Chrising it up, I did this little thing after my last video. Now I know somebody else, her name's Trudy on Instagram. She did, and Chris showed this in his video too. Did something way better than this. I'll put in a picture of it here because it's awesome. So this is nothing like that, but I did whip up a little. I had a little bookmarky looking thing, and I whipped up a little like, look what I did. I've got a little Chris it up, stitchy bookmark thing that I made. Isn't it cute? Is it? I don't know. I've been trying to play around and practice over the last little bit with like, some stitching software to, possibly create some of my own charts. Isn't that exciting? I'm still pretty clunky. Like this is clunky. I'm not exactly like master of letters or like, it's a little bit, it's a little messy and amateurish. Mary and a couple of other people, when I showed them this, they asked me like, "Oh, you gonna put that up so people can buy it?" And I'm like, "Buy it, buy it." I don't think that this is of a quality that I would feel comfortable asking people to pay any sort of money for it. So no, I won't be doing that. But I was thinking though, if you want to spread the Chris it up cheer around, if you want this, the chart that I did this, I included, I have a border of X's around it, which I thought made it look a little bit more, a little bit more legit, but this had a border of lace around it. So I didn't need two borders. Whatever. The point being, calm down for a second. Point being, if you want to spread the Chris it up cheer around, and you want this even just to fix it or use it as some sort of a launching pad to do what you want with it, or change the colors or change the letters, or do your own Chris it up thing. If you want it, I don't have any sort of fancy setup where they go to my website and download it, which would be way easier to do that. So I don't really have a great mechanism for doing this. And if hundreds of people start messaging me, it might get a little bit overwhelming, but whatever. I'm not expecting hundreds of people to start messaging me. Relax, Stitch Man. If you want this and you want to do what you will with it, if you want to do anything with it, send me a message. I'll put my email address in the description box below, or you can send me a message on Instagram or whatever. And I've got a PDF chart of this that I made, and you can have it if you want it. It's yours. You can have it. Let's all just Chris it up and do what we want. Take this, fix it, change it, do what you want with it. Whatever. If you want it, send me a message. You can have it. So along the lines of noodling around with stitching software and doing little things like this, I hesitate to mention this because I'm the type that when I have plans and goals or whatever, I tend to keep them to myself until everything is already in place, because I don't like to declare intentions to people, and then I start getting all these, where are you at with this, and where are you at with this, and what happened to this, just in case it doesn't happen. I don't like to give people expectations and then not follow through and then feel like an idiot. But on the other hand, that also is kind of an out for me to be lazy or not really do the things that I say that I want to do. It's rather than thinking about it the way that I think about it, of not wanting to disappoint people, it's kind of an excuse for me to not actually follow through if I keep it all to myself. So I am going to tell you that at some point this year, sooner than later, I hope, but we'll see. I do hope to have be good enough and have enough good enough things that I think are good enough to have my own little, like, stitchman.com or something like that, where you can go and buy some of my patterns that I've been creating. Isn't that fun? Doesn't that sound like fun? I mean, like, if I've got, like, I hold myself to a bit of a standard here, where if I think that they're shitty, I'm not going to ask anybody to pay money for it. They have to be good enough. So, so far they haven't been good enough, but it's been a lot of fun. And like, whatever, if that's as far as it ever goes, it's fun. I love stitching. I love, I've been, sometimes I search for stuff that, like, I have in my head. I wonder if anybody's done anything like this. Why not me do it? If I'm trying to look for somebody else that has done something that I want to do, why don't I do what I want to do, right? What's wrong with that? Crest it up. So I'm just putting it out there into the world as a way to sort of like keep myself motivated, now that I've told people that I am hoping to have a little shop and be good enough to have stuff that I'm not embarrassed to put out there into the world. And if people like it and people want to do it, like, that's just going to add to the fun. If nobody likes anything and nobody wants to do anything, it's still fun. And like, okay, I embarrassed myself. My whole persona is embarrassing myself. What do I care about embarrassing myself? So I'm either going to have fun and I'm going to embarrass myself, or I'm going to have fun and some of the stuff that I've created might actually be out there in the world, and that'll just add to the fun. So, this is what we're doing. We're christening it up. And how do I expect to ever take that crown off Jacob's head if I don't ever start designing my own things, right? This is the next step.
Long live the king.
I also made a couple of new stitchy Flosstuber friends over the last couple of weeks that I'm going to tell you about. I know I've said this before and I'm not going to say it every single time, but I know that there's a million Flosstubers out there and we don't all have time to watch every single person. So I don't necessarily expect everybody to always go watch and subscribe to every person that I talk about. But what's my point? I like that there's so many Flosstubers out there, because you can like sort of like, create your own little playlist of, people that you like. Not everybody watches all the same people. So I like that there's a big variety of people that can, like, have your little your group and your playlist of, whoever you like. And for me, I find my, like, the people that I sort of consider like my, like, core people that I never miss any of their stuff, they seem to be on a very similar schedule, at least lately, where like right now there's a whole bunch of videos that just got posted over the last several days that I'm actually behind on. But once I watch them and catch up on them, sometimes it feels like there's like a month of like a lull where, like, where's all my people at? That's why I hear people in their videos sometimes talking about, Darcy's been hounding me to make another video because, like, everybody makes one all at once and then they just disappear. Alyssa talked about that in her last video. Like, look at the memes that Darcy sends me, and they're like, hurry up, well, where's your Flosstube? I'm dying over here. Like, there's probably 7 or 8 other people that are watching that go, hey, he does that to me too. So when those lulls happen, I start looking around for new people, because, like, I watch Flosstube when I stitch. And where are my people at? I guess I need some new people. So I found a couple of new people, and I'm going to tell you about them now. First is Suki, the brown-eyed stitcher. I'm pretty sure I said that right. Sorry if I didn't. She's pretty active usually on Instagram. Some of you might know her from that, but she has a Flosstube channel too, and she's awesome. And she does the most amazing full coverage things. Like, everything that she does seems to be like fuller and coverageier and bigger than the last thing. She's working on one of those like supersized max colored Heaven and Earth right now that, like, just make all of the things that I've ever done look like minis. I'm like, look at my big Heaven and Earth and look at all my full coverage thing. They're tiny compared to what she's working on. And she's working on several similar things, and they're all amazing. And she's fun to watch, and I talked to her a little bit, trying to make some new friends, and I really like her, and I think you should check her out. How about that? The other person, her name is Allie, and she is show and tell stitcher, and a similar, it's not similar. What's the word I'm looking for? Not similar. She does amazing stitchings too, and I've messaged her a little bit too. I'm trying to expand my friend group a little bit, not just get stuck in like I've got my people now, and I've got my thing, I've got my routines, and like I shut myself off to everything else. That tends to be the pattern of my life, and I'm trying to like expand that a little bit, like watch some new things, do some new things, make some new friends. If you want to message me, you want to be friends with me, let's be friends. Let's be friends. I like making new friends. Getting off track. I'm getting off track a little bit. Allie, she does these awesome. She did the one in particular that like is this gigantic sampler. I'm sorry, I don't have anything written down about this or anything else, but this is a really humongous sampler, and she stitched it in hand. And when I heard her say that, I almost passed out. Like she was holding it up, and it's like the most spectacular thing, and she stitched it in hand. Why would you do that? I mean, people can do whatever they want. If that's the way you like to do it, you don't have to do what I do, but I just can't do that. That's a magic trick to me. Even this little thing right here, I had a tiny little hoop for this, because even doing this in hand with only like 150 or 200 stitches, I can't do it. I can't do it. I need a hoop or a snap or something. So I thought that was pretty incredible. She's worth checking out just to check that out, if nothing else. She's got like 5 or 6 videos so far, and she's really nice, and she's really good, and she's really fun to watch, and I really like her, and that's it. And one other thing too, and this is not a new person, this is an old person, a really, really, really old person. I would find it hard to believe that there are many, if any, people that are watching me that also don't watch and subscribe to Betsy. But if Betsy's getting really close to 3,000 subscribers, which I know she doesn't care about. She doesn't even know, like I messaged her last week and I said, you're getting really close to 3,000, and she's like, what is it? Like she relies on me to tell her. She doesn't even know. Not that she doesn't care that like about her audience. She's just like, she's not hung up on what the number is, but 3,000 is a pretty cool number. And Betsy's getting pretty close to 3,000. So if there happens to be, which I find hard to believe, but if there's anybody that watches me that has not yet checked out Betsy Clegger, I would highly, highly recommend that you do so. When I first became friends with Betsy, I talked about her in one of my earlier videos, and this was my first impression of her. We've been messaging each other on Instagram, and we are becoming the best of friends because we are both at the same level of maturity, which is that of a 12-year-old boy. It's just the most fun. I hope that some of that comes through in her future videos. A little bit of that. You got some glimpses of that in her first one, a few little glimpses, but she's well beyond. She's where I am. She's me in 20 years if I never grow up. And fingers crossed, I never grow up. And that could not have possibly been a more accurate first impression. That is exactly how I would still describe her. If you like me, you will like her. You will love her. I'm sure you all already know that, but if there's anybody out there that hasn't watched Betsy and hasn't subscribed to Betsy, go do it. There, now she won't be so mad at me for taking so long to watch her new video. I messaged her last night, like, I know you posted a video like a week ago, but I haven't watched it yet, and she was mad at me. Now, there. Are we good now? Are we friends again? Okay. Enough bullshit. Let's get into the whips. Let's see some whips. What have I been working on? It's pretty much the same stuff that I was working on last time, except there's more of it. So first up, let's take a look at Chessy, and let's see where I was 2 weeks ago.
This is what Chessy looked like last time you saw it. Darcy probably regrets asking me to do this.
And here's what Chessy looks like today. Not bad, huh? Huh? Eh? Not bad, eh? I am Canadian, We do say that. So right after I finished filming my video last time, 2 weeks ago, I was way into Chessy. It was all I was in the mood for, and it was all I wanted to do for. So for a few days after that, I thought, I mean, I really want to finish this in a timely manner, which is going to be a couple of years, but that's still timely in my books. So whenever I'm in the mood, and I actually am in the mood to work on this, I should strike and do it when I want to do it, because there are times when I don't really want to be doing it. So when I want to be doing it, I should be doing it and get as much done as I can. And I actually thought that I was going to get down and finish this whole page, but I petered out around here and I started wanting to work on other things. I should have this part right here. I should have at least had that much done and filled in. But this is, I've got this little cut on my thumb. Look at that. And that is, you would be surprised how often I need that particular spot on my thumb, especially when I'm stitching. It's really, really painful. And that's exactly where my needle wants to go when I'm stitching, right into that cut. So I was doing just this little bit of 200 stitches last night, and this is for the whole evening, and I was up pretty late, and this is all I could do because it hurts so much. And I had to, in order to make the needle not slide right into that cut, I had to sort of alter the way I was holding my needle, which made me feel like, I might as well be left-handed, or like doing something, like if I can't do it exactly the way that I'm used to doing it, it feels brand new again. It's clunky and it's awkward. And I am shocked at how much I need this part of my thumb, because I apparently need it for everything. And it's really, really, really annoying to not be able to use it. I was whining and complaining so much about how much my thumb hurts that Melissa suggested, you could just not stitch tonight. Maybe just like give your thumb a rest and let it heal and not stitch. And I was like, not stitch? What
fucking language are you speaking?
Does not compute. What do you mean not stitch? So anyway, if I can get this thing to hurry up and scab over so I can go a little bit faster, I am in a Chessy mood again. I was last night, and I wanted to be way farther than this. So if I can, if this starts to feel a little bit better soon, then this isn't very much. I don't think that's even as much as I did in the last 2 weeks on top of all the other things that I did. So I don't want to make any solid declarations about this is what I'm going to do in the next 2 weeks. But if I stay in the mood to work on this page should be finished pretty easily by the next time I sit here 2 weeks from now. Right? Meow. Next up, I worked on Minnie Alice Descending. Let's take a look at what it looked like last time.
Dinah, we really shouldn't be doing this. After all, we haven't been invited, and curiosity often leads to trouble.
So this is the one that I said that I might rip those stitches out and start over and do it in tent stitch instead. Not only because it'll go faster, but because I just think that it will look kind of cool with she's going down the rabbit hole and she's kind of being sucked down in pieces or whatever. Whatever, you heard it last time, and if you didn't, whatever. So a lot of the advice that I got from people about what to do and how to do it, 100% of the people said, don't rip those stitches out. That's stupid. And I didn't. It is stupid, and I don't want to. Why would I frog if I don't have to? At the very least, some people said just leave it and just continue on in 10 stitch. Other people said just cut a new piece of fabric. Come on, you can just sit there and pull out these stitches. Come on, which is what's exactly my reaction. Come on, I'm not doing that. So I cut a new piece of fabric and I just restarted it. And take a look how much I did. It's cool, right? Look. I am really, really excited about how fast tent stitch goes. I know that your instinct might be that it's twice as fast. Are you doing half as many stitches? So you're going twice as fast. It feels 10 times as fast. It doesn't feel like I'm going twice as fast. It feels like this took no time at all. I'm just breezing through it. And it is giving the effect that I was kind of hoping that it would. You can see that it's not so I'm usually fussy about the coverage of my full coverages. Like even from one of the legs of my stitches is just even a little bit sideways, I pick at it with the needle and try to like, you know, I am that fussy over every single stitch because if it's a full coverage, I want it to like fully cover. But this is giving, I don't know how close I can get and have it still. Like here, can you see that? This is giving the effect that I kind of hoped that it would, where like I'm okay with seeing the fabric in behind it. It kind of looks like she's being like, you know, blown sideways or something like that. And I feel like I just think that like with the like story of the what's happening in the actual picture, I think that is actually going to fit it really well, and it's gonna look really good, and it's going so fast. Like I feel like I'm jiggling my camera here. I feel like if I was only working on this for the last 2 weeks, that I would have been down into page 2 by now, and it's only like 2 pages and a little bit. Like this could take no time at all if it's all I was doing. It's not all I'm going to be doing, so it is still going to take a little bit of time to actually see some progress on it or to finish it. But this amount right here, which is like, what is that, 800 or 900 stitches, something like that, felt like it took no time at all. This is just what I was doing in between deciding what I was going to do. I'll just pick this up and work on it until I figure out what I'm going to do later. I'm astounded at how fast it feels like this goes. Next up, Spirits of the Dead by Jacob of Modern Folk Embroidery. Let's take a look and see what it looked like 2 weeks ago.
Be silent in that solitude, which is not loneliness, for then the spirits of the dead who stood in life before thee are again in death around thee, and their will shall overshadow thee. Be still.
And here's what it looks like today. Take a look at that. Isn't that awesome? Isn't it? It is, isn't it? So that's the entire top section finished, and that's where most of the stitching is. The rest of it, I'm not going to say, look, the rest of it is just words, like as if it's like insignificant. Like there's still quite a bit left. I got to finish the border, and I got to get down here, and I got to fill in all the words. But it doesn't look too daunting. This looks like this was the main, you know, the main part right there at the top, and it's all finished. So filling in the rest of the border and Edgar Allan Poe's name at the bottom and the words in the middle. I don't want to say that I'm going to be done in the next 2 weeks and then come back in 2 weeks and like berate myself for not doing it. We don't do that anymore. I used to do that, but I don't do that anymore. Why? But I am going to say that even with my plans to work on other things, with like this stitched up really quickly. These like, it looks like a lot, and it is a lot, I guess, but it felt like it was going very quickly, and the rest of it doesn't look like, to me, it doesn't look like as much. So I am not going to say that I'm going to be finished this in the next 2 weeks, but I am going to say that I'm going to be finished this in the next 2 weeks. I am. I'm going to, even with working on other things and making progress on Chessy and doing other things that I want to do, I feel like I can finish this in the next 2 weeks. So let's see if I did it. I guess we can't actually see if I did it until 2 weeks from now. Maybe I'll edit that little clip into my next video. Let's see if I did it. Let's see if I do it. Let's see if I did it. I'm going to do it. And even though I just said I'm not going to make any declarations about what I'm going to do, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to make a declaration about what I'm going to do. This is going to be finished. Finished! And the last thing I worked on, Jacob's Modern Folk Embroidery 2022 Mystery Stitch Along. Let's see what it looked like last time. I still have no song for this one. Somebody suggested that since I'm calling this a duet stitch between Melissa and I, we're both stitching on it together, that my little intro song should be a duet sung by me and Melissa, which we thought was actually a really good idea. We just haven't done it yet, but maybe we'll get that going for next time, because everybody needs to hear that, right? Stitch Man and Stitch Lady singing together. Everybody needs to hear that, right? So here's what it looks like now. January completed. February snuck up on us really quickly, and it was February 1st or 2nd, and we were like, oh shit, we're not even finished January yet. So we hurried up and finished it because this is we don't want to fall behind on this one. Yeah, I did finish Fruits of Plenty in 2021, but I didn't even start it until July, and it felt a little bit rushed, and I don't want to. This is a reasonably reasonable one to keep up with, but it's gonna feel like a little bit more pressure than I want to feel if we start to fall behind. So we're not gonna fall behind. We're gonna keep up. So this is January. I'll finish it. I love it. I think it looks awesome. This blank space right here, by the way, I just want to make clear that that's not just me monkeying around with Jacob's design. When I say that I'm going to replace the original person's name with Melissa's name and my name, Jacob in his write-up suggested that if you don't want the original person's name who stitched this, you can replace it with your own name. That's why he included a full alphabet so that we could replace it with our own names or something else if we wanted to. So that's not just me. That's not just me just monkeying around and doing my own thing. That's Jacob. Jacob suggested that. It's Jacob approved for me to put my own name there. By the way, what is the title of the last stitch along was called Fruits of Plenty. What's the title of this one? Is it, because if it's the original person's name right here, I am not going to humiliate myself or dishonor that person by trying to pronounce that name. It's just not going to happen. And also because I'm not stitching that name here, that it doesn't really make that much sense for that to be the title of it. So does this have a title? Should we create a title for it? I was thinking that since the last one was Fruits of Plenty, that everything that is a Jacob stitch along from now on should be something of plenty. So I've been sort of just unofficially calling it Darcy and Melissa of Plenty. That is the unofficial title of this duet stitch along. Stitchman and Stitch Lady of Plenty. What do you think? So I am liking more and more our sort of what we landed on with keeping the border with this heavily variegated floss and doing a more solid color in the middle. When we first started it, I was still a little bit like, I think it's gonna look good, but I'm not really. I wasn't really sold on the whole thing. But now that January is all finished, I'm sold on it. I like it. I think it's gonna look good. And there's a whole bunch of fun looking motifs in the February section, and one of them is flowers, which are done in just one solid color. But Jacob recharted it that if you want to not do the flowers in one solid color, you could make them a little bit more colorful. So Melissa suggested that with something like that, maybe that would be an opportunity to pull in some of this variegated floss, and maybe the petals of the flower we could do in this. And then if there's things like that throughout the pattern that we could sneak a little bit of this in, might tie it in a little bit and make it look really good, which I really liked. I'm excited about that, and I think it's gonna look really good. Right? Don't you? I think that was a good suggestion. Speaking of Stitch Lady Melissa, she's been working on some stuff too, and she did a lot of work on this. She wasn't in my last video, and she's not in this one. I think she wants to do her own separate little segment, on her own, she's done a couple of times, which I'm not gonna say I prefer. She can be in here if she wants to, but I don't like having to sometimes she gives me 30 or 40 minutes worth of footage, and when I include her in these videos, I cut her down to 4 minutes. Give her room to talk about what she wants to talk about and have it be its own separate thing. So I think that's what she wants to do whenever she gets a chance, and she'll probably talk about this a little bit too. She did a lot of work on this. We haven't really made a solid you have to do this half and I'm going to make it half and half. It's just whenever either one of us feels like picking it up and working on it, and it's worked out really well so far. I did most of the border, but she did a little bit of it. She did most of this, but I did a little bit of it, and she did all of this, and I did all of this. So I feel like just accidentally it's already been pretty even, and I'm excited about it. I love it, and I love her. So it's good all around, right? One other thing that might be coming up in the very near future, maybe even in the next couple of weeks, I've got this chart that I've had for years that I love. I absolutely love it. But it always seems to be like, you know, 4th or 5th down on the list. And I just never get to it. And I've started to feel like I never will get to it. But, hang on, I'm burping. But, in keeping with the new 2022 philosophy of Chris it up. Do you like that? I pulled this one out and I took a look. I took a look at it, another look at it, and I thought, you know what? I feel happy every time I look at this. I'm not even 100% sure what it is. A tree? Like what's going on there? Is the forest burning down, or is it just like the sun in the background, or is this what is this? I don't know what it is. I don't care what it is. I just really, really like it, and I feel happy when I look at it. And the title of the chart is happiness. Look at that. It's like it's a message from the Stitch gods that like I should be doing this year. So it's happening. I started kitting it up already. I'm missing a few colors, and I don't like to start a new thing unless I have everything that I need. Even if the color that I'm missing is not one that I'll be using until I get down here, like 3 years from now. I don't like starting a new thing unless I have everything. So I haven't started it yet, but I've organized a whole bunch of colors and I've written down the ones that I'm missing, and I'm gonna go get them and possibly start this very, very soon, like before my next video even. And I'm not gonna make it like a super high priority like some of my other ones, but in those moments where I feel like, you know, I'm getting grumpy because of snow, or I just want to I want to look at my happiness picture and I just want to feel some happiness, I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to pick away at it over the next couple of years, and I am really, really excited about it. So stay tuned for that. Happiness, 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 happiness. One last thing before we go. My friend Jenny, who is I'm a Stitch Girl on Instagram, and look at that, she just messaged me as I said her name. Like, what the hell? Like, what the hell forces of the universe are that? Boom, Jenny pops up right on my phone mid-sentence. Anyway, she asked me a question a couple of days ago, and I wrote her this novel of a response. Like, I'm gonna have to set aside some time to read this answer, Stitch Man. This is a bit much. And then I got to the end of it and I said, maybe I should have just talked about this in my video. Maybe other people have the same question, and maybe I don't know if I know what I'm talking about or not, but like I might as well share my wisdom with the townspeople, right? So here's a little good excuse to have a little return of the Ask Me Anything. Let's go. Ask me anything. Jenny asked me about stitching full coverage pieces, and especially stitching them in the blocky 1 square at a time or 2 squares at a time way that I often do, and how you prevent getting those lines where you can see the outlines of the you know what I'm talking about. If you stitch these things, you know what I'm talking about. It's really, really, really annoying. You can see the lines when you're done, and how do you prevent that? I don't know. The end. I don't know. No, if you look at some of my previous, there's one in particular that is one of my previous full coverage pieces where I was seeing that happening as I was stitching, and I didn't really know what it was or why it was happening. So I just figured, well, that'll come out when it gets ironed or washed or pressed or stretched or whatever. That'll come out, and it doesn't come out. And it's one that like I've shown it here before. I've held it up and I've shown pictures of it, and like I can make it look good so that you don't see that. But if you're scrutinizing it the way that I scrutinize it, sometimes I get close to it and I look at it and I see those lines, and it's really, really, really tempting to just rip it off the wall and restart it and redo it. I know, like I probably won't. And everybody, like, you probably would think I'm just completely ridiculous for even thinking that. But it does bother me. And now that once I realize that that's a thing, there are things that I've tried to combat that so that doesn't happen again. Now, I don't know. I'm going to preface this with, I don't know if the things that I do actually help that or are going to help you if this happens to you or anything like that. All I'm going to tell you is what I do. And I don't really seem to have a problem with those lines anymore. So that's it. I'm just going to tell you what I do. You can take it or leave it. I know that some people, in order to not get those lines, they stitch diagonally. You see a lot of people doing these full coverage pieces and they're stitching in diagonals, which I really don't like. And when I say I don't like, I mean I've never tried. And anything that is a thing that I've never done before, my first instinct is I don't like it. So maybe that is the best way to do it, and maybe I would like it, but I've never tried it and I therefore don't like it. So that's not what I do. If you want to see somebody do that or like get their advice about that, Vani from Thread the Needle, I know, is somebody that is big on stitching diagonals, and I think that she's talked about it in some of her videos. Maybe that's the best way to do it. Maybe that's the way you'd want to do it. So go there. But here's some of the things that I do. I do stitch in 1 or 2 squares at a time like this generally, not always, but I generally do that. But I don't, I tend to jump around a lot within that little section. Like I carry my threads a lot, or I go up and down, or I do, like I'm not very methodical about going up and down or in any sort of pattern. And I do that on purpose because I don't know if that actually helps preventing those lines, but I don't seem to. Do you see any lines? I don't really see any lines. And that's one of the things that I do to sort of like prevent that. It makes your back look really messy. And I know some people like a nice, neat back, but I could give 2 shits about what the back looks like. And I don't even think that, even with my like jumping around and going all over the place, I don't think it looks that bad. So who cares what the back looks like as long as the front looks good. So that's one of the things I do. I do stick to the squares, but I jump around within the square. So with that, mainly, like, you might be thinking, of course you jump around a lot because like there's so many color changes that like there wouldn't be much opportunity to stitch in any sort of pattern anyway, because you're jumping around a lot because there's so much confetti. That's true, but there are sometimes lots of sections where, especially if you're doing like a background, that a huge amount of these squares, if you're going to do 10 by 10, are going to be just one color. So when that happens, if it's just one color, I don't go, maybe I shouldn't use a pen, but I don't go like, you know, okay, here's my grid and I'm going to go up and down and up and down and up and down. I'll take that one color and even though it's just one square that I'm filling in, I'll still jump around all over the place and just make it a mess until the square is filled in. Because that, I don't know if that really helps with the lines or not. But it helps with my, like, I'm not going to say boredom, but like it makes it a little bit more interesting for me to just like not go. You would think that like stitching a whole bunch of blocks in just one color would be quick and easy, but I actually find it just like terribly monotonous and feels like it's going slower. So when I have that happen, I still jump around all over the place with just that one color instead of going up and down, or however, like whatever pattern you like back and forth. I don't do that. I go all over the place. Another thing that I do is, I don't know if you're actually gonna be able to tell this, or if I can get close enough that you can really examine this all that well, but I don't pull my stitches really, really tight. Like, they're snug. They're not gonna like come out or anything. They're not like loose and flopping all over the place, but I don't pull my stitches tight. I pull them just tight enough that like they look tight, and then there's a hair on this. It's actually stitched into the, great, I'll fix that later. Anyway, they're not going to come undone or anything like that, but it's not like tight like I'd be tying my shoes or anything. They're just sort of like just enough. So I'm not really sure, like these are things that mentally make sense to me that this might help that. I'm not sure if that actually is a thing or not, but that's a thing that I do. I pull them tight enough, but not tight. And one last thing that I told her that I do when I'm stitching, even if I'm going to stitch in a block, is I know some people, I'm not sure if I'm going to actually be able to demonstrate this like this, but I know that some people are very, very methodical about where their needle goes up and down. Now, my stitches all go in the same direction, but I don't really care about, you know, some people will start in the, I don't know if you can see this or not. Some people will they'll pull their needle up in, say, like the top right corner, and then go down to the bottom left corner, and then like top to bottom for the next, for the legs of their stitches. And it's always the same, like top right, bottom left, top, left, bottom, right, and that's how they make their X, and it's the same way every single time. I don't do that. On purpose, I don't do that. As long as they're going in the same direction, I don't care which hole my needle comes up and down. Sometimes it'll come at the up the top and go down, and sometimes it'll start at the bottom and go up, and I mix it up like that on purpose for this reason, because I don't want the back to be all being pulled and going in the same direction, and I don't want to be able to see that. So I'm a little bit haphazard about like where my needle goes up and down, and sometimes I'll do, like I'm working on this color and I'll do the actual X's. I'll make an X, an X, an X, an X, or sometimes I'll take a section of stitches and do them all in tent stitch and then go back over them, and not necessarily go back over them in the same direction that I went in the first place. I'll go over them one way and I'll come back a completely different way. Take the long way home. I don't know. So I try to, even though I'm confined to these little boxes with the way that I like to do it, I actually try to make it a little bit messy and chaotic within those boxes. And whether that actually helps with those lines or not, I don't know. But mentally it does, and I prefer doing it that way, and I don't see any lines. Do you? So if you find that to be a problem and you want to try any of these tips that I've given you today, feel free to try it out, see if it helps, and that's the end of that. Ask me anything. So I think that's it for today. I don't know if doing this on the fly. So I think that's it for today. I don't know if doing this on the fly without anything written down and without any sort of plan, I don't know if that was a good idea or not. We'll see when I start to edit this together if it seems like a complete disaster and just like this is not up to my normal high standards of quality. Then I'll redo it tomorrow or something. I don't know. But next time I think I'll have a little bit of a better plan and some more stuff written out, because I don't. Maybe you don't notice the difference, but I sure notice the difference sitting here trying to do this without looking at a notepad. I don't like it. I like having stuff written. So anyway, for my own sake, I'm going to do that next time. I'm going to do the things that I said I was going to do. And if I don't do the things I said I was going to do, then I did other things that I wanted to do. So keep Chrising it up. Keep being happy. Keep doing all the things that you want to do. Send me a message if you want my little Chris it up thing. Send me a message if you want to be my friend. And I'll see you again in 2 weeks.